We are all jokes when we say she is getting canceled. We are not going to let Pixie get canceled over this.
Yeah, I mean, I am so opinionated that Hi guys! Welcome to LoveCast, the Boys Love podcast. I'm your host, Pixie, and with me are my co-hosts, Alexa and Kayla.
Hi.
We've started with intro dances now.
Pixie's just gonna make a dance to everything. Kayla just said.
She's a cheerleader.
Yeah, I'm used to people staring awkwardly at me. It's fine. So today we are talking Bad Buddy, and we are gonna get deep and down and
dive. Deep down.
Dive some deep down. Words are easy.
Yes, always.
Okay. So, yeah. Where do we start? Do you guys have like some?
Heather,
what were your first thoughts?
Yeah, Heather made us a lovely run sheet to follow, so we don't just talk in circles the whole time like we have a tendency to do. Yeah.
Thank God we have Heather. Yeah. So, what were you guys watched the episode today? What were your immediate thoughts afterwards?
Sad that it was over. Like I put on the Instagram story, it wasn't in my actual notes, but literally like, why is it over was my first thought. It was just like one of those things where it finished and I immediately started missing it. I'm like, I'm not a person that typically rewatches things, but I was like really tempted to just go back and rewatch the whole finale again.
Yeah.
Kayla. I didn't really expect to have such an emotional reaction to the finale because up until then, I feel like my love for the series was a lot more casual. But like something about the ending really had an effect on me. Like, I don't know if it was just the nostalgia with Pat and Pran looking back on their memories together, or just like the fact that even after 4 years, they're not really accepted by each other's families. Like, they're still dodging each other like the Montagues and Capulets. Like, something about it was just like, it was sad. Like, It was really sad, the ending. I don't think that it was like entirely happy. I felt very bittersweet after it.
Yeah. I mean, it was like happy in the fact that obviously they were still together and they didn't break up like everyone had, like we were made to believe they had. But overall, like when you think about it, not much had changed from where they were when, you know, before they went to the beach, you know, like their situation with their families was really slightly different because they showed like those hints of their parents like obviously being aware that they're still dating and like not making a big deal of it, but like it wasn't that much better than where they had started 4 years ago when they families first found out that they were dating.
Yeah. Like, I do love the acknowledgement that not everything like comes to a happy ending. And I guess the healing between the parents like isn't linear, like it's going to take time, but like I understand the criticism of it not feeling like complete.
Yeah, so my thoughts right after, it's probably a little bit controversial, but I was just like, yeah, it's over.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's understandable.
I will explain why.
Pixie gets torn apart in the comments.
Segueing into what we thought about like the overall story and the writing.
Do you want to? I was gonna say I feel like you have words to say about it.
I need to explain my opinions here. So I have one problem with the show, and it's the writing. Because I thought, honestly, it's not bad. It's not bad at all, and I like it. It's just very basic.
I honestly don't disagree with that.
and that's what makes me not love
Yeah.
it. It's just very, I'm very I always center a lot around story and motion of story and how the flow is, and just seeing progress and seeing development and just character development and story development, everything. And it's very basic.
Yeah.
If the other stuff wasn't so good, the show wouldn't be good.
Yeah, I think the magic of the show was definitely in Piof, obviously, and Ohm and Nanon as actors. I feel like I saw this quote yesterday on Twitter, and I don't know how real it is, but it was something like even Nanon had said, like, the story itself isn't anything revolutionary in terms of a love story, but I don't know if he said this, but like them bringing the characters to life was what made it something different. So like the actual basic plotline of the story, I do agree that I don't think it was like the most revolutionary in terms of writing or plot, but I think that Ohm and Piof and Nanan really just like elevated it to what made everyone love it so much.
Mm, yeah. So I'm all here for like having a party, but like I watched the whole thing. Like I'm at a point now that there's so many BLs. If I just don't get engaged and don't like it, I just stop watching.
Mm,
I
Hmm.
didn't get that with this. I finished it and I wanted to finish it, but I wasn't watching it when it premiered or the same day even. I sometimes it went a couple of days before I watched the
mm,
episode.
yeah.
So like the writing is where it kind of falls off for me.
And yeah,
But it does have other things going
merits.
for it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that makes
Mm.
sense for you as like you are a writer and I feel like you've always been the person who kind of centers writing in your
Mm.
feelings about stories and BLs and stuff like that. So, if the writing doesn't hit for you, then that makes sense that, that kind of impacted how you felt about the show.
So like I do really like the flow of the story. I think they did that very well. So if you look away from like the basicness of the whole storyline, they keep you engaged every episode. It's not like any episode was like boring.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I think they did
Hmm.
that really well.
Yeah.
I feel like
I really liked the flow. Go ahead,
I
Kayla.
feel like I've come to appreciate dramas that are more simpler as time has gone on. Just because I don't know, I get overwhelmed really easily. It's like I get too into the story and it like consumes me. So I feel like even though it
Hmm.
was very simple, it was executed so well. But I do agree
Hmm.
that it was all on like Piof and Ohm and Nanon. Like if it was not them as a combination in this series, then I don't know if it would have the same effect on me or just like longevity of me thinking about it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I 100% agree with that. I think the way they pieced the story together and certain choices that they made, like you said, in terms of pacing and things like the time skips and stuff like that. Like, we're another series, I feel like I'm typically not a fan of time skips. I feel like elements like that are what
Hmm.
really kind of took like the basic aspects of the story and kind of elevated it to a different position. And I think that kind of helped the pacing of the story feel more dynamic than it would have been if it was just going straight through however many years of this just them being in university. Like the time skips and that stuff kind of added some element of
Hmm.
dynamics to it.
Hmm.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I also think that part of it that made me so hyped for the story was just the engagement in the fandom. Like, I felt
Same.
like for me, like as someone who like I keep my social media open pretty much all day at work, whether it be on, which is something I shouldn't do, but that's like a whole other story. But like whether it's on the podcast accounts or anything like that, I feel like being online while the show was airing was another aspect that made me feel like I have to watch this right away, because you see everyone else raving about it and loving it and already theorizing, and you feel like you can't miss it. So I feel like that is kind of also a huge element of what built up my excitement for it every week.
Mm. Yeah, that's where my problem was, because I couldn't get into it
Yeah.
because of what I perceived as like too basic writing, because that's where my interest
Mm-hmm.
lies. So I just couldn't get into it, and I couldn't like get into interacting with everyone because I it didn't bring enough, like I didn't care. So even like, yeah, but I do think like the pacing was good, and I think it was like perfect for the number of
Oh,
episodes
definitely.
they
Yeah.
did. It didn't feel like they were doing any fillers or any like too much fan servicey or stuff like that. So I do like that they sort of wrote it more natural rather than like one of the big problems with Together was that they had so many moments that felt like they should have been intimate but
Mm,
weren't. But here they let that intimacy naturally come,
yeah.
which was great because GMMTV has a tendency to hold back, but they didn't, thank God. So, but it didn't end up feeling too fan servicey like Why Are You?
Yeah. Yeah. They walked the line on
Mm-hmm.
intimacy that felt fitting for Pat and Pran, and kind of always keeping that joking, like fake competitive element even up till like the final scene in the final episode. And I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that kind of stuff definitely made the romantic aspect feel very natural and very enjoyable to watch. So for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think like one of my favorite things in the whole show was sort of like the unscripted, just Ohm and Nanon
Mm-hmm.
being
The back and
themselves
forth.
kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could
Mhm.
see that it wasn't scripted. They were just letting them do whatever they felt like doing in their roles. So that was one of the most like better
Yeah.
moments for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that kind of segues very well into talking
Into
about the
casting.
acting and overall like
Yes.
casting of everyone. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, 100%. Like, I feel like, and you know what? I will give shout out Ariel, because he has been begging for a OhmNanon series for like years at this point, and no one ever really pictured them together like as a BL pairing, but like
Mm-hmm.
obviously like they did the damn thing. So like I don't
Yeah.
know what it was, because there's plenty of BL actors that are friends in real life that have like acted together, and I feel like it hasn't quite just hit the same way that Ohm and Nanon
Mm-hmm.
do. So I don't know if it's some aspect of their friendship compared with, or compared, not compared, with who they are as actors and like their acting level and the different skills they bring as actors, like all of that coming
Mm-hmm.
together just made them so riveting to watch together.
Yeah. I think it's a lot.
Mhm.
They are so comfortable
Mm-hmm.
in their own skin and with each other and whatever they are that they can just act
Yeah.
like that, which is great.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
mean, it's the same sort of chemistry you got from Mew and Golf.
Yeah.
Like they were just comfortable with each other without it having to be like a moment to question sexuality or like stuff like that, right? It's just you're comfortable with someone even if they're just your friend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have
Mhm.
friends that I could be comfortable kissing, like girlfriends, and I'm straight, like, but it wouldn't matter. Like I'm comfortable with myself and them that it wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
matter. So mm. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think they did like a stroke of luck with the
Yeah.
casting.
Yeah, I think Ohm and Nanon became like, or at least they proved themselves as a powerhouse as a
Mm-hmm.
pairing. Like they really took over the internet. They broke the internet.
Multiple times, honestly. um
They
and I
broke the
think it
GMMTV store.
website. Yeah.
I heard.
Yeah, and I think it helps that they're both so talented on their own as well. So there was never a moment where you
Yeah.
felt like one person in the pairing was carrying the whole thing acting wise compared to the others, because they're both like insanely talented actors. And obviously Ohm has done multiple BLs before, and for Nanon this was his first BL. So and it's a well-known thing that acting in a BL is different than acting in like a het series or a Lacorn and stuff like that, and actors have talked about that before. But Ohm talked about how, or Nanan talked about how Ohm helped him to understand those differences, and how he had to understand the character and stuff like that. So there was never a moment where it was like, oh, you can tell this guy's never acted as being in love with a man before, or any weird like criticism like that. Like they both are just
Mhm.
so good that they were able to get into the characters and get into the characters' feelings for each other, like without any hitches in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like I already knew that Ohm is an amazing actor, so it didn't
Mm-hmm.
surprise me how well he played the character of Pat. But with Nanon, I just wasn't aware of his versatility as an actor because I had
Yeah.
only ever seen him in like one other series where he played like a darker role. So like when I started watching Bad Buddy, it's like I had this epiphany where I was like, I fell in love with the character of Pran because of how Nanon played him. Like, it was just so
Yeah.
good. It was like he
Mhm.
was Pran.
100%.
Mhm.
He was incredible. And honestly, I think like the whole supporting cast did really well too. Obviously, you had like the friend groups, and like Jimmy and Drake and Love who played Ink, and Milk who, or Love who played Pa, and Milk who played Ink. And I feel like all around, like, I mean, there was obviously some moments where you could tell like some people were a little bit greener when it came to acting, but like there was nothing that ever stuck out as like this person is not bringing their character to life, or I'm being taken out of the moment because of X person acting like this and stuff like that. I feel like they had a good ensemble, and they all really worked well together as
Mhm.
their characters.
Yeah. Can I say one thing that I'm gonna use a strong word for this. I really hated how Vi acted when he was in love with
Yeah,
Pa.
the
Me
flip.
too.
I hated it. I'm sorry. But other than that, I loved him. But just when he was supposed to like go after Pa and just had this like lovesick puppy kind of thing going on, it kind of grossed me out. I'm
You're
sorry.
like, bring back evil Y.
I need some step on me energy from that boy. I need to see him in more roles like that. Like, dude, step on me.
He did do the anger very well. Like those
Oh
scenes
my
when
god.
those episodes where he was pissed. I mean, should he have been pissed at Pran for dating Pat? No, but
Probably
the
not.
episodes when he was, like, the acting was on point from Jimmy. Like, he did really well with those episodes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was just great. I mean, Drake was hilarious. I think his one-liners
Mm,
as Corn were some of the funniest in the series, and like once again solidifies our more Drake roles
yeah.
agenda,
He
because
just
he's
gets
just so
better
funny.
and
He's
better.
such a good, like, I feel like a lot of his lines are ad-libbed, and he's so good at doing
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. I want more of it.
Yeah. 100%. Like he just gets better and better for each show he's
Mhm.
in. They seriously need to give him more roles and more upbeat roles. I don't really like him as a bad guy,
Yeah.
like in Together, like
Oh, I
when
always
he's
forget
supposed to
that he
be
was
like that.
technically the bad guy in Together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh god.
No,
I
he does
like
really
that
good at
boy being
comedic
more cute.
roles.
Yeah. Why can be the bad guy and
Jimmy as the bad guy
oh,
and Drake as the good
hmm.
guy, and then,
Yeah,
we can have our little enemies
that's
to lovers
perfect.
that everyone
And
was
they
really
can do a
pissed.
BL
Yeah. How
together.
many people were pissed that we
Oh.
didn't get Y and Corn at the end of the series?
Yeah, but that's obvious since Jimmy is doing the
Vice
other BL.
versa.
What was it called?
He's in vice
Yeah, vice
versa.
versa.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they don't want to pair them up before that.
Well,
But
they kind of
like,
backfired on that one because the fans already took it and
yeah,
ran with it. I feel like
yeah, right. But they did have
they
chemistry. Like
were,
they fit
yeah.
together.
It gave us that good enemies to lovers, since Pat and Pran were never actually enemies. Y and
Yeah.
Corn were giving people the enemies to lovers realness that they needed. But
Yes.
yeah, I mean,
I really like the parents acting as well. But I do like I I have a problem with Pat's dad.
Pat's dad.
I
I
do
think
not
everyone
get
does.
why. Can we just discuss this for a second? I just need like why does he get the right to be angry?
He
What
shouldn't.
the fuck does he has to be angry about? Like he
That's
was the
what I'm saying.
asshole. He has no reason to be angry.
Yeah, honestly, like, Pran's mom made so much more sense to me after learning what he had actually
Yeah.
done. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I still don't like that they kind of like forced their children into their weird, like,
Yeah, that's not
familial
right.
beef that they
But
had, but her
mhm.
anger towards him was way more justified than him,
Completely
like,
understandable.
randomly hating her back because he knows he did the wrong
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Yeah, it's so petty and it just makes no sense. And I'm just,
And then,
what is
like,
wrong
I
with you?
hated that they had Pat's mom also be like, you have to understand he was under a lot of pressure from his father, like, justifying his actions. I was like, ma'am,
So
Yeah,
was
please,
no.
Pran's
please.
mom.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, they were very hateable, which, like, I
Backbone,
guess
thank
they
you.
did their roles well, especially Pat's dad. That man was, like,
Oh, he
so
was the
frustrating to
villain in
watch.
the
Mm.
whole
He
show.
was the
He's the
real villain,
villain.
truly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, like, I mean, they were all very good at being evil parents and stuff like that. So, and Pran's parents, the actors who played them are both absolutely stunning, and I just like had a crush on both of them the whole time aesthetically.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my god,
gorgeous.
the
Both
mom
oh my god,
is
she's so
just,
stunning. I was like, wow.
oh my god.
You appear to be
Yeah.
evil, but you are stunning.
Yeah. Yeah, no, she is gorgeous, and they honestly they did a good job. The only, you know, in the last episode, the guy who speaks English,
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god,
Max.
that
that
made me
was
cringe.
horrible. That was.
Oh my
Can they
god.
not find like an English speaking actor? Honestly, there's so many. Like you could pick any. Like there's a lot of Thai BL actors who can speak perfect English.
Yeah.
Why don't you just use one
They
of
were like,
them?
we need a white guy in this scene. And so they chose. That is
Like
like one
what the
thing
fuck?
Asian dramas, because this is a huge thing that people always make fun of K dramas for too, is like when they have a white
Mm-hmm.
actor in the role to speak English, it's always like
Yeah,
someone who, and like this is no offense to them
they
because
can't
obviously
act.
they're, not English speaking natives, but like
Yeah.
they pick people who like really do not speak English as well and like
Mm.
force them into like
They do
these
that in
English
Japan
speaking
as
roles.
well.
I'm just like, why?
That's a big problem in just it's a big problem in Japan, in South Korea, in
It's like we need a
Thailand.
white person, and since they're a white person, they have to speak English, and then it's just like,
Yeah.
why?
Did did
Maybe it just like
you
doesn't
guys
sound awkward to them because it's
Maybe
not their native language, so
their
they don't
native?
like realize that the tone
it's
is
very
a little
choppy.
off.
Yeah,
But I mean, GMM TV is a big company. Do they not
True.
have anyone in that company that can
no,
like
because they all
check?
have COVID right now.
It's not
Like,
funny.
dude, Drake is right there. He knows how to speak English. He could have told them.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm putting it behind us. Oh my god.
So moving into the production side of things, I don't know if this really falls into production, but
Ooh.
I was like, this is where Kayla's gonna shine. But talking about Pat's dad made me catch the inconsistency with his hair pissed me off so much.
Yes.
There were some
I did
scenes
not
I
it
wrote
would
that
like
down.
okay, specifically specifically in the scene, it was most noticeable in the scene when he like discovered Pat and Pran at the mall. At the scene in the mall, he had longer hair. It was kind of slicked back. You know, they had their little fight, and then they got back home right after that happened, and his hair was short. And I noticed it before too. Like the actor, you could tell they filmed scenes out of order, and the actor clearly got a haircut in the middle of filming, and it's so frustrating to me when that happens, or like when an actor dyes their hair in the middle of filming,
Like,
and like you
but
can tell they
Alexa, he might have gone to the hairdresser right after that happened. He was at the mall.
he discovered his son is dating his his
Went
worst
to get
enemy's
his hair
son, and he's
done.
like, wait, gotta hit the salon first before I confront this. But like that, I noticed
my
it a couple
God.
of times earlier too, and I was just like, why? I mean,
Same.
obviously it's his hair, but like you couldn't wait until after you finished filming the series to get a haircut. Like, come on, dude. Like,
He might have been filming another show.
yeah, that's true, but that's just like one of those inconsistencies I always notice when like the hair
I
changes
did not notice
throughout
at
different
all.
scenes
Yeah.
in the drama. Oh,
I did not notice at all. I can't even think back and remember how he looked.
is that you do not want him in your brain
You
at
blocked
all?
him out.
Yeah, I just see red.
He's just a blank face.
I pretend I do not see
No,
it.
I mean, whenever like a story is sort of basic for me, I just don't notice details
That's
because I kind of
understandable.
I tune
You're
out.
not as engaged, so you wouldn't
Yeah.
be.
I might have been sitting there catching Pokemon while I'm watching.
When he went to get his little haircut. Yeah, but stuff like that I always pick up on. I don't know why, but it just always sticks out to me. And like it's really not the end of the world, but it does really bother me from like a character continuity standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
But the other quip I always have with GMMTV production is the sound. I I I know this is a thing across Thai dramas, but like GMMTV, come on. Like especially the scenes at the
You're a big
beach, like
company.
whenever that scene where they were having like this really nice heart to heart at the beach, like it was the first time they were at the beach, and I was just like, I cannot hear for shit because all I hear is the ocean waves in the background.
Waves.
Or like when they
Yeah.
hug each other and the mic is really muffled, like that's always going to be one of my production pet peeves when it comes to specifically Thai BLs. It's always an issue.
They jump on the bed and you sort of just
you can hear
the
it like their
rustling
clothes
from the
rubbing
mic.
against the mic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's always one.
Yeah,
of
I
them.
mean,
I noticed that too. I'm used to it.
Yeah.
Used to it. I don't understand why they use those kind of mics in that setting.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that they
have a
have
lot of
boom
money.
mics. They have boom mics on set. Like I can
Yeah.
see them in the behind the scenes pictures. So why
use them?
Why did they have like a news announcer mic clipped onto their shirt?
It's so frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, a big company like GMMTV should invest in a better sound production team. I don't know, but it just like you cannot have like everything else being like really good and then this sound which is consistent over all their shows. It's this problem.
Yeah.
Like it's not as bad as some other shows. Like I remember I still have like nightmares of that boy band show, boy band the series or whatever.
Oh my god,
That
I forgot
was
that show
horrible.
exists.
It's like they had just one of those clip-ons
For the whole cast.
So when they were like in the training room, you could like only hear the guy who had it on, and everyone else sounded like they were like 100 meters away.
They were like, we have one mic for this entire cast. You guys are gonna have to share it.
I mean, it was really low production, but still, like, dude, it's not that expensive to get an extra mic.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like, especially when you have like PO involved in the production and like things from his end, from like a direction and camera work standpoint, are so good.
So good.
And then like the sound is just like, eh.
Mm.
It's really frustrating. It does, like, that scene specifically at the beach. It was like episode 5 or 6. I forget the first time they went to the beach, but like, they were talking about, should we just drop everything? It was right after the kiss, and they were like, should we just,
Yeah.
drop everything and forget everyone for a little bit and do this? But like, I was so taken out of the moment because all I could hear was the ocean
The
being picked up
sound.
on that
Mm.
stupid ass mic.
Yeah, I don't know. I've watched
Yeah.
some GMMTV dramas, just like het dramas, where I felt like there wasn't any sound issues either. So I think it might be
Mm-hmm.
like a series to series thing because not all of them have the crazy sound, but a lot of them do. A lot of the BLs do.
Yeah.
But
They're
yeah.
saving the good sounds for the
Uh,
hetero stuff.
Maybe.
oh, that's a conspiracy.
Only good sound for the het BLs. The gays get crap sound.
Conspiracy. Oh my gosh, no, people will believe that.
We're gonna get GMMTV canceled.
We're starting shit here.
But yeah, my favorite
Yeah,
thing
so
with
go ahead.
production was they kept doing this thing where I really, really love when shows do this, and it's like they use this technique called analypsis and prolipsis. And that's basically just like the literary terms for flashback and flash forward. But I felt like some of my favorite scenes used that filming technique. So, like, anytime there would be a scene where it seems like the scene ended there, it would like pick up later during a different scene.
Mm-hmm.
Later on in the show. Like, does that make sense? I don't know if
Yeah.
how I'm explaining it makes sense, but those were like some of my favorite scenes, and I feel like they really helped the pacing of the story so that nothing felt like out of the blue and just everything made sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with that. I really
Yeah,
loved how
I
they
don't
did
think
that.
I ever felt confused by the story at all. Like like I said, it was very basic.
It all comes down to
There was nothing to be confused about.
No, but like the coloring and editing and everything was really good. And I mean there's nothing really to say about it.
Yeah.
Piof is great at directing, and yeah, I mean,
The
what do
man
you gotta
knows what he's
do?
doing. And I
Yeah.
feel like that really makes up for some of the other like production quips that I might have had. Like, yes, the sound bothered me, but there were obviously tons of other elements that make that something that is like ignorable, basically. And you just
Mm-hmm.
have to accept it. But yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
agree. And like the use of music, which we have like a whole section to talk about that a little bit further down, but whether it be Pran songs or like will forever rave about the use of that song in the first kiss scene on the rooftop. Like, I'm such a sucker for like when music swells as soon as their lips meet type thing. That kind of shit
Mm-hmm.
always gets me.
Timing.
And stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that, like the inclusion of instrumental music and Pran songs and just friend like being there throughout every stage of their life, like all of that stuff
Mm-hmm.
was really well worked into the story, I think, music wise.
Mm-hmm. I really have to give it to PO for letting OhmNanon sort of ad-lib a lot. Like he let them do their thing, and you can see it in the whole show.
Yeah.
And that's what makes their sort of chemistry work, when they just get to be themselves and be comfortable with each other. I think if he was it kept them on like a stronger leash, we would have gotten like a more stiff performance. So I really like that.
Yeah, I feel like they were very much able to kind of just be their characters as they saw them and not necessarily as they might have been written on the script. Or, you can see all these photos of Piof like that he posts on IG, like getting into it and like on the ground with them and really working with them to like understand their characters. And I feel like you can just kind of tell that he trusts them as actors and they trust him as a director, and so like the product they can both pull together because of that is just like next level stuff. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean Piof is, we how often do we rave about him on this podcast? Like
Yeah.
Piof is Piof.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, he, like, before, when I got into BL, I was sort of, I really loved New
Mm-hmm.
as a director. And when he disappointed me,
Like, can use
Pio
out,
took
Piof
his
is in.
place. Yeah. I mean, New can get a redemption with Between Us, but
Hopefully. Hey, LoveCast fam. So, in order to commemorate the end of the Bad Buddy era and to celebrate the release of our series Deep Dive on the show, we have a little giveaway for you all. So, we have some official items from the Bad Buddy series GMM TV merch line, and we're going to give them away to one of our viewers. We've got two of Pran's most iconic items for you guys. We've got his smiley door hanger, and of course, his favorite pea tote bag. So to enter, it's really easy. All you need to do is head to the comment section of this video on YouTube and leave a comment with your favorite scene or moment from Bad Buddy series. So we will use a random name generator and pick a winner from all of the entries down below. The giveaway is going to run through this Friday, January 28th at 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. And it's open worldwide, so anyone is able to enter. The winner will be contacted within 48 hours of the giveaway ending. And for further terms and conditions, you can check out the description of the video. We'll have everything there for you guys. Be sure to help us spread the word for the giveaway on socials by retweeting and reposting our giveaway posts about it. But other than that, good luck and happy entering. Bye-bye.
so what are your thoughts about directing?
About PO. Thoughts about PO. I mean, I've said this before. I think the man is incredible at what he does. I would love to sit down and talk to him about the choices he made in this drama and honestly like all of his dramas, because every GMM TV show that I have like regarded as one of my favorites, like He's Coming to Me, A Tale of Thousand Stars, and now Bad Buddy, they've all been directed by Oaf. So like obviously that man put something in his shows that I am like drawn to.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to have the opportunity to like sit down and pick his brain about his process and everything like that. I just think he's amazing.
Yeah, I think he really does a good job at blending like the realism into BL without making it too much, because BL is gonna be fantasy or like romantic. It's always gonna have this romantic filter because it's boys love.
Yeah.
But it's a romance. So like with K-dramas, with other Western shows that are romance, it's always going to have this romance filter on it, whatever you do. But he does a really good job of blending like reality into it.
Mm-hmm.
Like this representation and making it not pushing it at you so you feel like you're getting it stuffed down your throat, but just making it natural and a part of the show so it doesn't feel out of place.
Yeah, I think he's really good at obviously he is a queer person, so he is working from his own experience, I would assume, to some degree, and I do think that he really knows how to tell queer stories in a way that, like you said, does have that element of realism, but also still keeps a lot of the elements of BL that people like to watch BL for, those sort of fantastical elements that make it BL compared to, you know, what people would consider queer media. And so I think he is, you know, creating shows that are BL, but elevating them beyond what we're used to seeing when it comes to queer representation in BLs normally, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's meaning to it. Like,
yeah, I mentioned before, I think when I was talking about Tale of a Thousand Stars, that I just feel like he's really good at adapting the books into a series. Like whatever he has to change, he knows that he has to change it to modernize it with the times, and he does it while, like you said, still keeping those elements of BL. So
he's just like really good at making that transition from literary work to the screen.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I remember reading at some point that he had stated he took like 20% ish directly from the Bad Betty novel, and then the rest he kind of did adapt to make it more modern and fit the story. And from what I've heard about the novel, I haven't read it, although there is like an official English translation out there now. I feel like he definitely made the right choice in some of the plot points that I've heard about, like the characters and things that happen later on in the series and stuff like that. I feel like he definitely knew what elements to adapt from the novel and what to kind of make more his own in a way that made the story really work for television and for a 12 episode series.
And just for a tiny plug, like if you're on our Patreon, I'm doing the audiobook.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
We're going to do audiobook readings of Bad Buddy, so you can listen to the story
Yeah.
via
Or
Pixie.
behind the scenes.
Oh, yes, that's what it's called.
Which it's called.
The novel is behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so yeah, I'll be listening because what I've heard about the novel makes me curious about it, but I also am like glad to hear about some of the changes that he very clearly made to adapt it into a series. So
Yeah, I think it's really interesting to see how they like transition the story from a book to a TV series and what they keep and don't keep. Like that's the whole like writer in me. Just I find it really fascinating. So
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. PO supremacy. We believe in PO supremacy here. I think that pretty much sums it up.
We stand.
Yeah.
We stand.
Yes. So you, Alexa, were talking a little bit about the songs earlier,
Yes.
and
The use of music. This was actually shout out to one of our patrons, Riley. She specifically wanted us to talk about talking about Just Friend and our song, which is the one that, you kind of saw him writing throughout basically the entire series because he was working at it for the Freshie contest and he couldn't finish it. And then when they went back to the high school, he played a bits and pieces of it for Pat there. And then we got to episode 11, and that was when he like finally played the song for Pat. And like just like the use of him writing that song throughout like the entirety of the way their relationship progressed and the story progressed. And it was the same with Just Friend, how they played it in high school, they played it in college at the Freshie Music Festival, and then again at the reunion where they not actually broke up. But, at the time when they played it at the reunion, we assumed that they had broken up and were having this like really emotional first reunion after 4 years playing this song that meant so much to them. So I just really like how they incorporated his songs throughout like every stage of their relationship and throughout every stage of the series. Like I thought that was really well done. And the songs are great. I'm obsessed with both of them. They're both so good.
Same. It kind of gave this feeling of like, even though time goes on, nothing really changes between them. Like
Yeah.
they're each other's constant. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's good stuff. Yeah.
I agree. They are really good songs. The only issue I had with the music, it's not the music in general. It's more that how do I explain that? It's sort of like the chemistry between Nanon and the music. I don't know how to explain it. I just felt like it felt a little like I didn't feel the passion for the music in the character, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I that might just be me. Like I don't know, but it felt every time like the music came on and it felt really random. I just didn't feel like I got the backstory properly as to why he was passionate about music. He never showed any real passion for it.
Yeah.
It's like he's just suddenly picking up a guitar and it's just like okay. But there was like no real show of passion.
Yeah.
So
I feel like I don't even know if it was something that he was meant to be passionate about, but music like his playing music was something that was directly tied to the first time his mom caught him and Pran together at that high school festival thing. And so it was more about him not playing music for all these years because for some reason, I guess his mom associated music with Pat or something like that, because his mom was the one who didn't want him playing
Yeah.
guitar, and she, he tried to hide his guitar from her and stuff like that. So I feel like, I mean, I don't even know if it was something that he was deeply passionate about, but more so
Yeah,
because
but
his mom took that away from him, that we saw it coming back into his life the same way
yeah, I
Pat
can
came
get
back
that.
in.
Yeah, I can honestly, yeah, I can get that if that's the case, but they never established
Yeah,
it and they never explained it.
no,
So
no,
it
they didn't.
feels
It was
very
very much
random.
theorizing. But yeah.
Yeah, so that's my only issue with the music in it. I sort of feel like they put it in just to sort of put some emotions into the scenes, and not really justifying why it's there.
Mm.
But it was good.
But it
That's
was
like
good.
again, this is a problem with the writing, not the music in
Yeah,
itself.
I can understand that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I will say it's always a little
I am
jarring
coming.
whenever you're watching a series and one of the characters just breaks out singing. Because then it's just they go into like a full like 3-minute song and you just like sit there
Yeah.
and watch it.
Mhm.
I think
Yeah.
it was definitely, especially with Just Friend, because they clearly put the actual music track over it. I always like the points, like the little points where he was playing our song first, where he hadn't fully completed the song yet, because it was actually him singing. So you got the awkwardness of
Mhm.
someone who is still working on understanding the lyrics of the song and what the song means to him and that kind of stuff. And like the part in the final episode when like Ohm sang a little bit too. Like I like the
Yeah, that was
inclusion
cute.
of it more when they were actually singing versus like obviously in the competition and stuff they put the track over it, which made it a little less authentic. But I
Mm-hmm.
understand why they do that, but it does kind
Yeah.
of take the tiny bit of authenticity out of it.
Mhm.
But yeah,
True.
so I really like both of the songs. Oh my
Mhm.
god. And the scene when they played Love Score, Nanon's song with the Thai GMMTV's girl group SIZZY, and that was definitely one of the funniest scenes. Just watching Ohm react to that as Pran and like trying to play it off like that is not clearly his voice singing those lines was so funny.
It was funny.
Yeah, I have no doubt that Ohm totally ad-libbed that, and I bet Nanon did not know when he got into the car that that would be the song that was playing. But yeah, it
Mhm.
was so funny.
Mhm. Yeah, like I was saying, like the moments they ad-libbed are like the best
Mm-hmm.
moments in the whole show.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like other like general small details that stood out to you.
I
Inkpa?
mean, I thought the consist. Yes,
Inkpa.
Inkpa.
Yeah, you have to talk about Inkpa.
I
I
mean,
can't believe
just
we haven't talked about Inkpa yet.
their whole storyline. I wasn't expecting it, or I guess I wasn't expecting them to actually get together in
Yeah.
the end,
Mm.
because it's always just like very unsure when it comes to a
Yeah.
GL couple or just a side couple in general.
Especially with GMMMTV.
Yeah. I'm surprised they didn't
Yeah.
suddenly make one of them straight.
Yeah,
If
right.
Pa had actually started dating Y, I would have
Oh,
rioted because,
no.
Mm.
they were like showing the hints of Inkpa, and then, they introduced like Y suddenly falling in love with her at first sight. And I was like, I
Mhm.
swear to God, if they make this into a love triangle or she ends up with Y in the end, I'm going to be so pissed. But like they actually went through with it, and that scene in the dark room was like everything to me. It was everything to me. My poor little gay heart could not handle it. It's just so good.
Mhm.
Yeah, I love that
Mhm.
scene too,
Yeah, I
where she pretty much knows that she's her mentor, but she doesn't
Mm-hmm.
know if
Mhm.
it's she's been treating her so kindly because she's the mentor or because she likes her. I felt that was like very realistic. It was very authentic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I really, really like that they actually put in a girls' love
Yeah. It's
couple.
about damn
I mean,
time.
yeah, but at least
Right?
they're listening. Like, we know that GMMTV is not good at listening. They're not good at commenting. They're not good at stuff like that. But they finally listened.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
Definitely one of the highlights of the
Credit
show.
where credit is due.
Yeah. I will give them credits for that one, for giving us Inkpa. And like maybe
It was
if we're
very
really lucky,
wholesome.
we'll see Milk and Love in like a full-on GL series together. That would be the true dream, but I don't know if I trust GMMTV that much yet.
Yeah, it might be their way of testing out the popularity of Girls Love by putting them in there. So
I don't know. I hope
yeah,
good things
I
come from
mean,
it.
it's interesting to have like a BL where the side couple is a girls love couple,
Yeah,
and not
that's
like three other boys
that's
love
actually very
couples.
true because usually they will just make every single man in the series gay and end up with
Fall
another
in
man.
love.
But
Yeah.
in this case, that didn't happen. Sorry to all the Y-corn shippers. And like we had the secondary couple was a couple of two women. So like that is actually, I didn't even think about how we almost never see that. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a BL having like a girls love as a second
No, they
couple
always make her turn
without
straight in the
any
end.
extra.
Looking at you,
Water
water
boy.
boy.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, but
Yeah, no, that was good, interesting, and I like that. Like, it feels like this is sort of Piof's um hand in things. Like, we can trust him to actually put
give us
some
the good stuff. Yeah.
representation and do stuff differently. Like, I like that they took chances with doing stuff differently, because Thai BL has this problem where they do the exact same thing in every show,
Yeah.
and then someone comes out and does something differently, and then every show after that does the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I freaking hate
Like,
that.
they
I'm
do
sorry.
not like to be
Like, now
original.
we're yeah, but now, like, we had all the cooking shows, and now it's all the basketball shows,
all the
and
sports
like,
shows.
dude,
Yeah.
why did no one not do like murder mystery shows? Like,
No
when
one could
Manor of
take a
Death?
hint from Manner of Death instead of like
Apparently not.
they're like,
If
no, it
you're
can't be
gonna do something
too
good,
interesting. But yeah, Piof is not one to follow the trend. Like, I think none of, well, I can't say none of because I can't think of every single show he's done right now, but the ones that come to mind, they're all out of the box and something that doesn't fit into the trend necessarily in terms of genre and stuff like that. So he's definitely not one to just do what's popular.
Yeah, and he also isn't like scraping by with expenses. Like, he's not trying to hold back there. Like, when we got A Tale of a Thousand Stars, like, the shots they took, like the cinematography, great. Like, they're out of like that one room that they always film everything in. Like, it was great.
Yeah.
No expenses saved.
No expenses saved, and it was worth it. Yeah. I mean, obviously, like, in terms of details, we have to talk about the smileys and how they were used to kind of denote Pran's emotions throughout the series, specifically like the door hanger switching, depending on, what was happening between him and Pat or what he was feeling about their relationship and stuff like that. And just using the smiley sticky notes and the door hanger and kind of it just being in the background of his existence everywhere. I mean, I love that little detail, and I love that they carried it through all throughout the series. And then,
Yeah. And from a marketing standpoint, genius.
Yeah, everything smiley.
Genius.
They were like, we're going to sell. Yeah, I mean, all of the significant items.
It's so
like,
sellable.
All of the significant items have been turned into merch. The doll, Nong Now, the smiley door hanger and stickers, the headphones necklace. Like, they have turned the Just Friend shirt, which was significant across the entire series. They were like, we are turning this all into merch. But, like, you know, obviously there is something to be said about the capitalism of it all, but all of those items were really well used across the series. Like, they weren't just thrown in for the sake of, we're going to make this merch later. Like, they actually worked them into the story and made them significant to the characters.
Yeah, and honestly, I would rather they got their money from that than having all these random
like a t-shirt with like the series name on it.
No, but like when they do all, like when they have too many of these like beverage commercials or whatever in the shows, it annoys the hell out of me. I don't need to see them drink that oishi
honey lemon
over and over again. Like, no. So I would rather they earn some money selling merch to people, because like it's something
at least
we
it's
can
significant to the fans
use, and it matters to us. Like, we want to have something to remember the show by. So
I agree with that.
I'm not mad.
I mean, obviously
I did see a comment on Twitter saying that, like, oh, the show didn't have any like promotions before it started, but right when like it got popular,
they were like, we're dropping all of the merch.
Suddenly popped up. Yeah.
I would do it too.
There's one thing GMM TV is going to do, it's make money.
Smart. Yeah, they're making money.
Yeah.
Which will give us better BLs, like better quality BLs in the future. So I'm honestly not mad at it.
I mean, I gave them some money and bought some merch so we can give it away to the listener. So obviously it works. It's worth it.
Yes. Anything else?
That's all I have in terms of small details.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything else. Are we gonna do like a rating?
We should probably. I know that our rating will be different, so you guys can go first.
I don't want to just say like are we doing out of 5 like we usually do?
Yeah.
Okay, then no, it's gonna be a 5 because I'm thinking about like rewatchability and the aspect of, would I recommend this to someone who doesn't necessarily watch a lot of BL as something they would actively enjoy. And even though like it's not the most complex story, I feel like it is something that a lot of people can enjoy across the board, and obviously I love the hell out of it, and so I would definitely say it is a 5. I mean, I have my quips here and there, but nothing that was enough to make me overall like dislike certain aspects of it, if that makes sense.
I think I would also give it a 5 because of the same thing, like watchability. As soon as it was over, I was like, I feel like I could watch this series again from the beginning. And like OhmNanon, like their chemistry, they're so good together, which we have already raved about. I love the hint of GL we got with Ink and Pa. And yeah, I mean, I really can't think of anything that would make me rate it lower than a 5 that like bothered me that much.
Yeah. Pixie's gonna get
herself
canceled.
No, I was thinking about this a lot, if I wanted to give it a 3 or a 4. And I think I've landed on a 4. So
I'll take it.
I'll take
a 4 out of 5.
But it's just like it's because the reason why I was thinking about the 3 is because of the writing, because of the story is so basic. It just doesn't engage me. So a 3 for me is something that's okay. It's in the middle of the tree. It's fine to watch. I can watch it, but I'm not gonna rewatch it. Honestly, I hope they get a new show because I love their chemistry and their acting and everything, but I'm not gonna rewatch this one because it's just it becomes too basic for me, even though there are a lot of stuff I loved about it.
Understandable.
So that's, yeah.
But you
I
still
think a
landed
lot
on a
of
4.
people
So
feel that
you're
way too, though. Like, I've seen a lot of people who felt like a similar way as you about the series overall.
Ain't nothing wrong
But
with
it's
it.
hard to have that opinion because you see a lot of people being very, very passionate about how great they think the show is. So you kind of feel like a bad person for not
No.
liking it as much.
I mean,
but
you would think those people can understand that, like, we all have opinions here, and not every series works for everyone. And no, like, no matter how good you think the series is, like, there are always going to be people that don't view the same things as you do as what contributes to their enjoyment of a series. So, like, I mean, for real, it's like, if people have an issue with it, then I feel like at our podcast, we've tried to establish that, like, differing opinions are something that we very much welcome. So I would hope no one would be in the comments like, how dare Pixie rate it below a 5 type thing. Like,
I'm telling you, people are going to agree with her.
We are all jokes when we say she is getting canceled. We are not going to let Pixie get canceled over this.
Yeah, I mean, I am so opinionated that I wouldn't care, but I'm used
Cancel
to
me. You're like, cancel me.
It's fine, cancel me if so. It's like, yeah, it's fine.
I feel like I do have to ask, though, because we are doing the giveaway, I want to know what your overall favorite scenes in the show were. I feel like for me...
Kayla can go first.
Kayla, do you want to go? Do you need to think about it? Because I already know
I need to think about it because it's hard.
Okay. I feel like for me, in terms of just like the scene that made me feel the most, I feel like there are very few things that top the episode 5 kiss. Like, that scene was one of the most, I mean, not even because of like the type of kiss it was itself, but like everything leading up to that, especially like that whole episode of him coming to terms with his feelings, or as Pat coming to terms with his feelings, and the scene when he was drunk, and like right before that, and like couldn't like hold back basically from outing their relationship at the time, which like they were just friends type thing. But the build up to that, and like I said before, the music and the scene on the rooftop, like Pat's whole monologue on that scene right before the kiss was just like everything to me. And the way Perrin was like, well, do you want us to be friends? And then he was like, no. And then like it all just came together. I feel like that scene just like was like 10 out of 10 from like every standpoint: production, acting, chemistry. Like, it was all there.
Yeah. I feel like that is my favorite scene too. But there's another scene I really like. It's whenever they are at the beach, staying in that house after they just ran away, and Pat is kind of like really gung-ho on them like permanently running away and like living there on the beach. And he's like, he runs in and he's like, oh, like, I got us like a job as the servers or whatever at the bar. And then Pran is just kind of like, he has like mixed feelings about it, and you can see it on his face. And then like he sees that little kid's mom come to pick him up, and he's thinking about how much he misses his mom. I really love that whole scene where he's like torn between, like, he does like love his family and wants to go back, even though his mom doesn't agree with him being with Pat, but it's like he has to choose. And I just think it was done really well.
I would 100% agree with that. Nanon's acting in that scene was incredible.
for me, I think my favorite one, like I said before, like the ad-lib scenes are always my favorite, but like my the one that like really sits with me is actually the in the last episode, when he Pran shows up at his door, and the scene that ensues, them running around. And yeah, I it's really playful, and it's a great way for them to end the show. Like, ending a show can be really hard, and doing it on like in a good way. And I just thought that like it was a nice playful, and it shows them off as characters. It's very in character how they are acting. And yeah, I just it really solidified the whole show. And yeah,
I agree with that. All the scenes. I will just say I agree with any scene that someone said. I'd be like, I agree with that.
All right. Anything else before we shut off?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, I could talk about it for longer, but we're going on like 2 hours here, so.
And that's it for our episode this week. Before you go, why not join the LoveCaster family on Discord? We have some open channels for those who aren't patrons, and come share your thoughts about Bad Buddy, and everything, what you like, what you didn't like. So if you enjoyed this episode, please rate, review, and follow us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and share this episode with your BL loving friends. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, where we love to interact with everyone. Links can be found in the episode description. If you'd like to support the podcast and help us to continue creating and releasing episodes, you can join our Patreon, where you'll receive exclusive access to the Patreon-only Discord server channels, guest announcements early, extra clips that didn't make it to the final episodes, and more. You can also send us a tip on coffee if you're unable to commit to monthly support, or even check out our merch shop, lovecastpodcast.com. Any help is greatly appreciated. Thanks again for joining us this week, and don't forget to jump into the Discord server or share your thoughts with us in the comments below. So until next week, bye.
Bye. Bye.
And then like we do like these knots in our 13th year. You get a hat and you can make knots on it, and to get a knot you have to do something for it. Like there are easy ones like licking a floor and sitting in a roundabout drinking. And there are stuff like having sex in a tree, or having sex with 10 people, or you actually get a knot for not having sex at all, too.
Alexa's just dead.
I'm concerned about the Norwegian youth.